Cobh Ramblers manager Stephen Henderson joining us at the launch of the Cobh Ramblers season here at Cork RedFM. Stephen, the partnership that we had last year was very fruitful. I'm delighted from a personal point that we're doing it again for the second year.
Yeah, and we are as a club as well. I suppose as a team as well, Ruairí, because it was the players who ultimately got the benefit of it. I think Kaka mentioned in there that as youth promoters, say yourself and Lisa, we really are very grateful for that. And I think it was also highlighted. I don't think many clubs were getting the kind of exposure that Cobh Ramblers got from you guys last year. Mm-hmm. But I think as Kaka touched on there, it was noticeable that our crowds gradually increased. Obviously, a lot of that was to do with what we were doing on the football pitch. But people were aware of what we were doing on the football pitch because of you guys. So it's brilliant to be back for another year with us.
Yeah, I'm delighted. On the team, you made a new signing tonight as well.
Yeah, Ross Mann is, he's a very speedy winger. He can play on both sides or he can play up front. I think we've been struggling in pre-season to be getting crosses into the box, to be brutally honest with you. And, Ross became available. We had a chat with him and, he was down training with us last night and he looked like a great addition to the squad. So we're delighted with that.
Are you happy overall with the shape of your squad?
No, you'll never be always happy, but I think we had to sit down and have a think about it, Rory, in terms of what way the league went. Nobody was expecting the playoffs to be removed. That did happen, and we did genuinely have a plan. We had a football plan, we had a business plan, and we had a club plan. That kind of went out the window when we sat down. So then we kind of had to observe and see what other clubs were doing. And then when we seen that Waterford had millionaires coming in to throw money at it, and Longford were throwing money at it, and Shells look like they're after investing heavily enough as well. We had to kind of be responsible in terms of what we were doing. We were kind of hoping that we maybe be able to touch on semi-pro again this year based on what happened last year. But without the playoffs there's too much of a risk for us not to be involved in a title race, for crowds to drop off and put the club back in trouble. So we had to be responsible, and we have to wait now and see what is the league structure going forward before we can make any really decisions on that. But in terms of the squad we have, they're fantastic young players, very talented young players. They surprised everybody last year, and there is a surprise in them. So we're kind of hopeful that we can be the dark horses again this year.
For want of a better phrase, you must be incredibly pissed off with the way the whole First Division situation and that playoff thing developed.
That's a great face. That's great. I was more than pissed off, to be brutally honest with you. And I still am. But then you go from angry to sad. Because, you sit down when you're signing players, and even when I was talking to businesses didn't actually believe I didn't know the playoffs were being removed. So you're starting to lose a bit of faith in the business community then as well, But ultimately, it's, we had 2,000 people at the last match because of the playoffs. If there's no playoffs this year, there's a good chance John Paul will be the only fella at our match. Do you know what I mean? So it's, these players deserve, like I said, they deserve an awful lot of respect. They deserve an awful lot of support from the Cork public in general and the Cobh public. We're trying to do a lot of stuff, not just in a football sense, but in a community sense. We spoke to local TDs about how we can bring Cobh Ramblers and make it much more community projects. So there's a lot of stuff we have to do, we want to do, on the pitch, off the pitch. The playoffs, it's a huge setback. But, we'll take it on the chin and we'll move on now.
And it's Wexford on Saturday, formerly Wexford Youths. Do you know much about them?
They used to be Wexford Youths. Do you know what I mean? And again, this is the league we live in, Rory. Do you know what I mean? That's a club that's, she was Wexford Youth. She had to go out of business. She come back as Wexford. Same with Waterford. Waterford United, go out of the league, come back in as Waterford FC. Do there's all that uncertainty. We're trying to do our business. We're trying to do it right. We didn't go out of the league. We didn't do anything. We got paid our creditors. We done our job. We mind our own business. We'll get on with it. Wexford are back in. We've had them watch 3 or 4 times. Barry Sullivan was brilliant. He'll tell me their team before the manager knows his team. That's the truth. But we'll be well prepared. They're a big side, I believe. A lot of pace up front. They'll be well organised. Damien Locke is only after coming into the league, so he'll be eager to get off to but it'll be a good game of ball.
And finally, most importantly, the game on Saturday kicks off the early time at 3 o'clock. If people want to head down.
Yeah, there's nothing we could do about that. We didn't want to play at 3 o'clock, but that's a decision that was over our hands. So we'll play at 3. We'll have there's no excuse for us not to play well, or you know what I mean. We'll just go out. It's 3 o'clock kick-off. Hopefully people will have a bit of time, will come and support us before the rugby starts.
Stephen, we wish you the very best of luck for the season.
Thanks very much. Seriously, thank you.